Hello and good day. Fair warning right from the beginning. This video will make some people very happy and they'll cheer, and other people will probably be upset with what I'm going to say. However, I have found this to be true through personal experience and studying people of all different abilities. Hey, Tony, how's it going? So here's the thing. Wealthier people, and when I say wealthy, I'm talking about how the vast majority of society would say, oh, that he or she is wealthy. That's what I'm saying. Or they're a 1% or a 2% or whatever. They do and think and act differently. And because they do it differently, they are given, or they create, new opportunities from themselves. All right. So, and by the way, I'm in my home in California. Well, I'm not in my home. I'm down the street. I actually live right down in that valley right there at the end of the third hole. That's the second hole right there. This is a Jack Nicklaus course. It's beautiful, really, really beautiful. So, here's what I'm saying is that the vast majority of people live paycheck to paycheck. That's the American statistical average. And the average household income in the United States, it keeps changing, but I think it's around $58,000, something like that. Someone correct me if I'm wrong, but it's around $58,000 a year. But here's the other crazy thing, the statistic is that the average household income of the top 2% of income earners in the United States varies depending on geography, because it's based on the people in that geographic region. But it varies from about $250,000 to about $380,000 a year, and that puts you in the top 2% of income earners in the United States. Does that seem low? Did you think that would be higher? That's what a lot of people think. Hey, Tanya, welcome to the show, and Jesse, thanks for watching. So here's what I have learned over time is that the people who are wealthier view everything from a long-term perspective, but also a very short-term perspective. So sometimes they're thinking, how can I get cash flow fast? But also at the same time, how can I use that quick cash flow for a long-term investment? So as an example, in real estate investment, they may flip properties. They may buy and flip, buy, fix and flip, buy, fix and flip, and then they use that money to put it into a longer-term, bigger investment, such as a multi-unit apartment complex with 10 doors or something like that, or 20 doors. That is a very common strategy. And so people who may not have that affluence or wealth, they may be focused on buying a large primary residence instead, and not thinking about how that can be converted into a long-term benefit. So and let me share some of the mistakes I've made, because I assure you I have made a lot. I have screwed up a lot. I've probably lost, I don't know, $3 or $4 million doing stupid crap, at least. Fortunately, I've made that back and then some, but I have done a lot of dumb stuff. And when I was younger, the dumb stuff that I did was buy a bunch of expensive luxury cars and sports cars when I shouldn't have. It was premature. Now, I have a great car now, but I'm looking at a Ferrari, but I'm not going to get it yet because I don't think that is the right thing for me to do right now, because I need to invest in myself, in my business, in my infrastructure and technology. So I'm waiting. Before, I would have just done it because I thought it was a good idea. Now I know it's probably not the best idea. Hey, Michael, thanks for joining here. Good to see you in Vegas, baby. So what I learned is that it's the people who can delay gratification the longest. This is something that the wealthier do more often, or maybe with better success, is whoever can delay gratification the longest can win. There's a study done, gosh, the initial study is probably done 30 years ago. You guys might be familiar with it. I think it was kindergartners or preschool, and they had a bunch of kids there, and the adults left the room. But before the adults left the room, they said to the kids, you can have one M&M now, but if you wait 10 minutes, I will give you 5 or 10 or whatever the number was. Some kids couldn't wait. Some kids held out a bit of time. Some kids could hang on until the adults got back, and they got the 5 or 10 that were promised. Fast forward 10, 20, 30 years, they followed those same kids through life. And the kids who could delay gratification and get the total amount of M&Ms that they wanted did better in life. They had better relationships, they made more money, and they were ultimately what people would perceive more successful. Isn't that fascinating? It started in kindergarten. So is some of that taught by the parents? Yes. Some of it is nurture, and then some of it is nature. There's probably some inherited factors and things like that as well. But I just find that super, super fascinating. So if you can delay gratification longer, you'll do better. So when I was younger, I did stupid crap, and I did not delay gratification. I'm like, hey, I want that Mercedes. Hey, I want that, what was the other one? An Acura NSX. This is going way back, right? And I wanted those, and it was stupid because I shouldn't have got them then. Then the other mistake that I made was buying the wrong kind of real estate. At one point I had 7 homes. I lived in 3 of them, and then I had an office building, which ultimately, here's the other thing too, talking about a mistake that I made. At the time it was a good idea, because when I started my business, when I bought one office building, sold it to buy another one, and then everything went online, because I had a warehouse before. It was like CDs, DVDs, the clamshell cases, pamphlets, notebooks, spiral bound stuff. And I had a warehouse full of product that I would sell people and send it to them all over the world. Then we started going cloud-based with everything in the transition. And then my staff requirements got smaller. Then our physical space requirements got smaller, but I still own this huge office building. And so that was foolish. So finally, I ended up selling about 1.5 years ago now. I sold that office building and then moved that revenue into buying the penthouse. And I have a company that I own, which owns the penthouse, because that's another thing that some of the wealthier people would do that I learned is you often don't want to have assets in your name. You also don't want to own a lot of things personally for liability reasons, but also tax benefits. So whenever possible, you want your company to own all the assets. And in some cases, you may want a separate company, a shell corporation, to own different assets, to separate liability, and to even have different fiscal ending dates, so you have more resources to float cash and things like that. But the difference is that a lot of people who are just starting out haven't done these things. Hey, oh, you're doing a photo shoot in California. Good. Yeah, I'm actually doing a photo shoot in about 10 days here with David Tosti in Orange County. I'm doing another one in Las Vegas about a week after that. So you're going to see a whole bunch of new stuff coming out. So here's the thing. And I'm generalizing, you guys. Listen, because some people will love this and some people will hate it when I say this stuff. I understand that some people love it and some people hate it. And some people say, oh, that's pretentious, or you're not being fair, or this. Look, I'm just telling you the truth. People who have generated more wealth and study wealth view things differently. And I'll give you an example of something that I've done. I'm trying to move my hand here. There's something that I've done that has, so as an example, I was traveling a lot the last few years. And so I started a blog for traveling entrepreneurs. And then I became a travel blogger. And then when I travel, I'd go study different martial arts, because then it's continuing education for my fitness and martial arts business. There's a lot of different things you can do that will allow you to write off your travel. But have you been thinking about that? Here's the other thing too that is necessary. You have to be incorporated. If you're not incorporated right now, you are missing out on huge, huge legal, just, appropriate tax write-off. So as an example, if you, let's just say that you're not incorporated now and you do some type of business, whatever it is, but you're not incorporated, and then you incorporate, you'll pay about 20% less tax. What would you do with 20% more of the money you had to pay to the IRS? Would you give it to charity? Would you give it to your religious organization? Would you help needy kids? Would you do a college fund for your, I saw there's a golf cart down there. I thought it was an animal coming up the hillside here for a second. I freaked out. There's mountain lions all over the place here, so I got to be careful with the puppies. They're right there. I want you to think about incorporating. You can do it online for a very low cost. You can work with your accountant or CPA to do it for a few $100. But then you also need to have a business checking, a business savings. Then you have a personal checking and a personal savings. I'm simplifying here. And you don't want to commingle the two. You want your company to own and do and buy as much as possible that's legal, so you can reduce your taxable income, and then pay yourself as little as possible, which is counterintuitive, because a lot of people say, hey, wait a minute, I want to make a bunch of money. I don't want to pay myself as little as possible. That's the absolute opposite of what you should be thinking. You want your company to buy things. You want your company to own things. You want your company to assume the responsibility of purchasing, whether it's technology, education, travel, or whatever, and then you pay yourself a reasonable salary to live and sustain your lifestyle. And if you're not doing that, you're missing out. So if you've ever wondered why, like the media is horrible about this because they lie a lot. And also think about this. If there's only, 2, 3, 5% of the US population that is technically wealthy, and then 95 or so percent is having more challenges with finances, it's easier to pick on the 2 or 5% because then you have this mass of humanity going, yeah, they're evil. But then everyone wants to be in that 2%. So, but somehow they're not evil when they get there. That's the irony and the hypocrisy of it all. But you have to think differently, and you have to model what the people are doing who are doing well, because you have to admit that it would be nice to be able to do those things. Because here's the thing. When you have more financial resources, people say, I just want $1 million. And I told someone the other day when I was speaking at an event, I said, no, you don't. You don't want $1 million. You want the opportunities and the choices that $1 million provides you. Because then you can say, you know what, I really want that expensive wine at dinner and I don't have to look at the price. Or, God, I'd love to go travel, but I also need to do something with my church. Okay, well, now you can do both. You may think that you had restrictions before, but it gives you options and choices. It also takes away stress. This is the other irony. A lot of people say, well, I don't want money, I just want to be happy. So you're saying that when you have to think about paying your bills and your credit card balance is going up, that makes you happy? That's a bunch of crap. That doesn't make you happy, that makes you stressed. And stress reduces your quality of life, and it can even shorten your life. So that's just not true. That's not true. So when people say, I just want to be happy, you know what's funny is the people who say that, I can't say that they're exceptionally happy. But also if you look at the media and how they portray the wealthy, they portray them as greedy and selfish and snobby. And I have found just the opposite to be true. My friends who are financially successful are the most philanthropic, giving and loving and non-selfish people, is that the right way to say it? Not selfish people that I know, because they don't feel scarcity. They're not contracting. They know there's more than enough because they can go create more. Here's another thing you can think about too. To become wealthier, produce more than you can consume. Produce more than you can consume or do consume. So produce more value, produce more love, produce more goodwill in the world, produce more help, produce more service, produce more products, produce a creation to solve more people's problems, and do all that more so than you are consuming or utilizing in any way. And as long as you do that, you're going to be on an upward trajectory towards your personal, professional, and financial goals. So there you go. I'm going to wrap this up here. Listen, if you missed any of this, please go back to the beginning. I want to help people get more out of life. And that's what makes me happy, is when I can serve more people and hopefully shed some light on touchy subjects. But think about this. If you're not incorporated, you need to incorporate and figure out how to get tax deductions and reduce your liability. You can take a loss for a short period of time and still benefit. You can form a corporation while you're still an employee for another company and reduce your taxes tremendously for your family. It's simple. Look online and say, just Google list of household or list of home business write-offs or list of small business write-offs, and you'll see this incredible list of things you can do. The other thing is that, have you ever noticed why a lot of wealthy people do real estate? Is because you can use, like if I have to invest in anything else, I have to use 100% of my money to make it work. But if I do it in real estate, I may only have to use 10 or 20% of my money and then use 90 or 80% of the bank's money, but I still have an asset that appreciates in value, which I can depreciate over the life span or the expected life of the property. And I can have tenants in there that will actually pay the mortgage while I appreciate in value. But you can't do that with your primary residence. So that's why you see a lot of people who are wealthy invest in real estate. And it's one of the last really, really good tax deductions. And that's why so many affluent people want to invest in real estate. It's that simple. So that's it. And also, here's the other thing. Avi, I see you just came on here. Oh, hello. And Jesse. So if you're around people who think that greedy or rich people are greedy assholes, stay away from them, because it's just not true. I have friends all across the spectrum of from living paycheck to paycheck, just getting by, to people who have net worths of $2 or $3 billion and all points in between. And there can be nice people and there can be crappy people all along. The people who are most wealthy are the most generous because they don't feel like they have to contract. They don't feel like they have to conserve because they know they can create more, they have more, and they can leverage more. So that notion that rich people are greedy is just statistically not true. In fact, they do donate a larger percentage of their annual income to charity than people who are struggling. It's not a huge amount more, but it is more, I mean, proportionally, percentage-wise. And also, here's the other thing, too. People say, oh, the rich people don't pay their fair share of taxes. That is also a bunch of crap. You can look it up, and I forget the exact data, so correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe the top 2% of income earners in the United States pay about 47% of all the taxes. And that is after utilizing all these legal and appropriate tax deductions. But the top 2% of income earners in the United States pay 47%, approximately, correct me if I'm wrong, of all income tax for all citizens in the United States. So how are they greedy jerks who are not paying their fair share? That is a political maneuver by candidates and the news to win over your votes and to manipulate data. But the data is there. It's very, very simple to see. And that is after taking all your legal, just, appropriate, and ethical tax write-offs. The 2% still pay 47% of all the income tax. But here's the thing, too. People say, why would I want to make more money? I'm going to get taxed more. That's both good and bad. The more taxes you have to pay, even after you take all your write-offs, you're still going to make a lot more money. But if you incorporate your business, you can make more money and pay fewer taxes legally. Remember, paying more taxes doesn't make you patriotic. It makes you broke. I don't want you to do anything stupid. I don't want you to do anything illegal, unethical, immoral. I don't want you to get in trouble with the IRS. Don't do anything stupid. Know the rules. And think of it like this. And I'm approximating, again, the IRS tax code is, I don't know, I'm simplifying. Let's just say it's 200 pages. I forget exactly what it is, but let's just say it's 200. About 10 of those pages of the 200 say, this is how much you make, and here's your net income, and this is how much you owe us. The other 190 pages are all the exemptions, exceptions, and variances that you need to understand, or your accountant needs to understand, and if he or she does not understand, you need to get a new one, or they say, I just want to play it safe. You do play it safe, but they're not doing their due diligence to find out all the legal, just, appropriate ways to reduce your tax burden. And it is a burden. That's why it's called a tax burden. It's a freaking burden. Do what you have to legally. Do what you have to appropriately. Don't do anything stupid that gets you in trouble with the IRS. It's not worth it. But you need to reduce your taxable income, because what can you do with that? You can provide for your family. You can go on vacation. You can do charity. Being a philanthropist is fun and is incredibly rewarding. So there you go. Watch the beginning of this. You can learn about some of the mistakes I've made, but it's basically buying liabilities rather than assets. You want to, a liability is something that costs you money and doesn't appreciate in value. And an asset is something that has value and can and usually does appreciate in value. So poor people or middle class in general buy liabilities, then they go in debt, and then they're frustrated with their financial situation. By contrast, wealthier people in general buy assets which then appreciate in value, which often can be a tax deduction or a complete tax write-off, sometimes in full, sometimes in part, and then it appreciates and grows over time to where that's how they grow their net worth. So if you're not doing those things, and then you keep seeing someone keep escalating, you're like, wow, they keep growing, they keep doing this, and then they got this new thing, and then they just invested in this, and now they got all this cryptocurrency, and they're always going on vacation. Why are they doing that? How are they able to do that? Because they're not buying liabilities. They're not doing stupid crap. And also, when they go on a trip, they will associate it with business, and then they can write off the trip. So now a trip isn't, it doesn't cost you. It's an investment in yourself and your business, and also your personal enrichment. And it also allows you to understand all the different opportunities that there are in the world. So if you ever are scarcity minded and you're thinking, I don't know if there's enough opportunity for me, just travel around the world for a bit and you will see all the incredible opportunity that there is. That's it. So welcome to my California abode. Oh, wait a minute, where is it? I'm confused. Okay, it's right. It's back there at the end of the fairway there. This is such a beautiful area. Just to give you contrast, or not contrast, but like, okay, so Las Vegas is that way, about 5 hours through the desert. LA is that way. Laguna Beach is that way. And San Diego is that way. And I'm 20 miles inland from Laguna Beach right here. Okay, that's it. I hope that was helpful for you guys. Let me know, give me your honest thoughts, and let me know if you think I missed something that I thought you think I should have included in that. There's a lot to go over. I know that upsets some people, and I get that, but what I've said is true. Even if you don't like what I said, what I'm saying is statistically and factually accurate, except maybe the total number of pages in the IRS tax code, because I think I may have the numbers off. But the percentage of pages relative to, hey, this is exactly how you owe us, is very small, like I said. That's it. Give me your thoughts. Tell me your frustrations. I'm here to help you. Online Expert Empire is coming out in a couple weeks. I'm going to help you.